All right, we're gonna watch a little more of this farce. It's painful to watch this because it's so divorced from transit. I mean, they're so divorced from what people actually need. But here they are with their fucking capital projects. It just drives me crazy to watch this shit. Can't stand it. I don't know why I torture myself.
Pedestrian bridge. This connector will sit within the vacated right-of-way of 42nd Avenue. And it really does provide a key link to many different users and different modes. So our study so far has produced three general concepts that you'll see on the screen. Policy in the foreground and that pedestrian bridge in the rear, so facing south. And so concept one on the left is really sort of looking at a tipped plane with bermed edges. Concept two is looking at a ramp and stair combination that is generously enlarged from today's elements and includes an at-grade plaza. And concept three on the far right is a more narrow stair but has two elevator cabs and is sort of tucked a little bit further in the southern portion of the slide.
Who cares? I don't give a shit, and neither does any transit rider.
We've been really pretty busy as a team.
Yeah, your team. Sure, your team is busy at home.
Outreach and stakeholder engagement on both the Hollywood Hub.
Let's read this. Shut up, I'll read it. Generally, good support. Yeah, right. From who? Strong support for a community. Right. Some have voiced concerns about just about everybody has voiced concerns. See, they just lie. Some have voiced concerns regarding access improvements. Yeah. Nice, Mike. Oh, good for her. Air pollution concerns. New building will be fairly air conditioned. Well, I would hope so.
Project, as well as these connector concepts, really trying to target a variety of users and modes, as I mentioned. And we've heard great, strong support for the future housing and community-centered elements, as well as a few areas of concern that I'll highlight. The first one is that while this does position buses closer to Hollywood core, as Guy mentioned, it does move buses to an in-street configuration and will add approximately
I feel
200.
I feel like I need to interrupt this program because I need to show you the dissenting opinion. Let me see if I can find it here. I got so many goddamn videos. It's ridiculous. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I mean, I want you to see. I want you. Oh, here it is. All right.
No. You're not going to take the 77 off of Broadway. Mr. Goodman made a very good argument why that shouldn't be done. And the 1 minute running time savings is not worth a loss of hundreds of riders that would not only use those two stops, but the two stops on 42nd that would be impacted. Well, since I have a few more minutes, I would like to make a few comments about two other lines. The number 15 bus downtown was originally not going to take the 77 off of Broadway. Mr. Goodman made a very good argument why that shouldn't be done. And the 1 minute running time savings is not worth a loss of hundreds of riders that would not only use those two stops, but the two stops on 42nd that would be impacted. Well, since I have a few more minutes, I would like to make a few comments about two other lines.
Where are we?
The number 15 bus downtown was originally supposed to run parallel in conjunction with light rail on Morse and Yamhill when it was first designed prior to light rail. And that's probably a better alignment than Alder. It actually makes Yamhill and Morrison more of a transit mall on an east-west transit mall, and makes for far easier transfers between light rail and
that's true. That's true. He's right.
It's something that should be considered. I don't think it has been. And both, you're not going to take 77 off of Broadway.
This is the same one.
Could run on Morse and Yamhill as a transit corridor. The other is the number 19 in Eastmoreland. It's being taken off of
All right, here it is.
the busiest part.
All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. Look, here, I don't know if you can see my pointer. Here's the max, okay? Can you see this? So they have to walk. Look at how ridiculous this is. They have to walk down this bridge, down these stairs. This is where they used to get on the bus, right here. See these 3 blue squares? Now they have to walk all the way out to Halsey. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding?
I was upset. I get upset. Can you believe it? I actually am so into this material that I actually get upset about these things.
Can I share my screen?
I did, Jeff. I don't know whether that's available.
Members coming in from the public are placed in a tier that only allows audio.
Sorry. So the answer is no, Jim. Sorry.
Well, it makes it a little difficult. I wanted to cover issues that you're going to hear about next month on the service changes, and there's some serious problems with this service changes. One of them has already been mentioned about the Hollywood Transit Center, but also the rerouting of the 77 bus through Hollywood is going to severely affect the ridership in the area. It eliminates some of the heaviest used bus stops in the Hollywood district and moves them out onto Halsey Street, where there's everyone getting onto the bus there has to cross Halsey Street, a 5-lane, heavily used street. I had slides on these, which makes that I was planning to refer to, so I don't have that opportunity. There's around 4 other issues on the so-called improvements that have to be, that should be addressed. The number 19 bus, the proposal is to drop the Rex Loop and that would, which has 4 times the ridership of the piece that they want to keep. Doesn't make much sense. There's also an attempt to try to improve service out to Rivergate, but in fact, the proposal that we've seen so far, actually it will make it worse. And here again, I had a slide to show how that will occur. It's going to remove any service from...
Anyway, somewhere in my library of a million things is a very good testimony by him and why they should not close Hollywood. But of course, you know, the technocrats don't care about actual people. They care about developers and money. They serve the elites. This is serving the elites. You know, here they are. Look.
Feet.
Engagement and stakeholder
for
feedback.
those
What a bunch
transit
of baloney.
riders going between bus and the MAX platforms. We have also heard a lot of great suggestions to include real-time transit signage along that connector to really relay those timetables for transit.
Yeah, this is a disgrace as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry, it's a disgrace. I don't support it, but me and 10,000 other people don't support it. But this is TriMet, unaccountable on every level, created so that there's no citizen accountability whatsoever. They pretend they have hearings and open houses and shit like that. It's all bullshit.
And as Guy noted, this project does include street and intersection improvements to really enhance the safety.
Yeah, sure. Of course you're going to say that, right?
Facilities that we'll be providing.
Of course, it's going to be great.
Another concern, so just beyond the project footprint, similarly related to safety, there's definitely interest in future lighting and access opportunities to the MAX platform.
The MAX platform is finished now. You fucked it up, as usual. You've only been ruining this transit system since the 80s when it was actually rated number 1. It's been downhill ever since. It was hijacked by the neoliberals like all the rest of our society. And this is what we got now. Fucking property developers running our transit system.
Platforms, particularly for our transit riders using the elevator. And then lastly, I'll just highlight that there have been concerns about the project impact to neighborhood traffic, which is not entirely unique, particularly when discussing neighborhood growth. There's 2 preliminary traffic studies underway. One is complete and looked at the building.
Oh, another study here. No, here,
no
another
major
$300,000 to
required.
study this.
And then a second one is in progress right now. And it's really looking at the broader neighborhood context, adjacent intersection.
Welcome to your property development agency, everybody. Hope you're enjoying it.
So we will report back when that is further along. Next slide. Kind of building on our community, stakeholder, and internal staff feedback.
Stakeholders. There's no stakeholders, you liars. You know, all these buzzwords. The stakeholders. Who the fuck is the stakeholders? Not the riders, that's for sure. It's fucking ridiculous. Should never watch this shit. We used a set of
criteria to really look at and review the benefits and constraints of each of those 3 concept designs for the connector. Right now, our engagement and evaluation are pointing us towards concept 2, which is the compact ramp and stair with a plaza, as the most promising type and fit. And so we're in the process right now of some follow-up engagement with key user groups. We have a meeting scheduled with the CAT committee tomorrow afternoon. And as part of this follow-up, we're really creating a list of what we're calling design refinements. Really, as we hone in on which appropriate concept to move forward. That list of design elements, or design refinements, as we call them, will...
What the fuck is a transit agency involved with this for?
Will really help us to optimize the site layout.
Why isn't this part of Portland Prosper, or whatever the fuck they call that fucking bureaucratic hell? This should be Portland Prosper, or who, I don't, is that what they call them? Portland Prosper, fucking joke. I'm so glad I'm not there. You know, Portland is now a toilet city. It's the city that doesn't work at all anymore. It's completely destroyed on every level. The transit's destroyed, the city's destroyed, the government's destroyed. Everything there is fucking, now it serves only the elites, period. Citizens get nothing from this city now. Nothing except taxes.
So note that we're pretty early in design still. I'd like to say we're about 15%. And we'll be using the next phase, which we call detailed design, as really the process to give more shape and definition to the design itself.
See, they're still designing this shit. You know how much money they're spending on designing this shit? Millions. All right? Millions of dollars going into this. And it's got nothing to do with anything.
As an urban designer, I find that the next phase is really sort of the exciting moment. When we get to capture a lot of the conversations we've had and really reflect that in the qualitative aspects of the site, with materials, site furnishings, programming opportunities, etc., that can add that value.
Okay.
Next slide.
Disgusting, isn't it?
Lance, I think it's back to
Look
you.
at this.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk just quickly about next steps. We're really excited about the progress we've made, and those of you who have seen our periodic updates, I think we'll see how far we've come. It's pretty exciting and impressive.
Pretty exciting if you're a goddamn technocrat and you're a goddamn construction contractor and you're a goddamn consultant, but it's nothing for people that are using your transit system but a goddamn another headache. You're destroying a transit system for this. Okay, there is no positive way to spin this. This is something that is hurting transit riders. Okay, it doesn't help them, it hurts them.
We are getting close to completion of our negotiations with Bridge Housing, and we hope to have those finalized in the next month or two. We're working closely with FTA on their joint development process. FTA originally helped us purchase this property, and so to complete a project on it, we need their concurrence. We're working on that. And one of the items that FTA requires as part of their process is a resolution from an agency's board of directors approving the structure of any deal. So we'll be coming back to you in the next few months to request that approval. In the meantime, much work will be continuing, including our design work, as Fiona mentioned, for the infrastructure portion of the project. And we'll continue our community outreach process to continue to make folks aware of the project.
Nobody wants
this. That concludes our presentation, and happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Pathetic.
Do any of the board members have any questions or comments? Director Edwards?
Thank you, President Simmons. Again, great report, very comprehensive and good information.
Jesus Christ!
And thank you for
Can
sharing.
Anybody ever say anything negative about anything ever? It's always like you're great, you're great, you're great.
I've raised it before. I hope that we're leveraging our influence and our relationship with the Bridge.
Who is
to
Bridge
perhaps
anyway? Who the hell are they?
Encourage them to provide some kind of financial literacy education or training for the residents.
What?
And the reason for that is that
What?
I think that we have a responsibility that doesn't carry over into that portion of it, but we have a responsibility to influence them if we can, so that we don't have second generation folks living in affordable housing. I think that's something that we can certainly work toward by having influence and utilize.
What the hell is he talking about? This is a transit agency, Mr. Edwards. It's a transit agency. It's not a social engineering agency. Okay? I don't even know what they're doing building this, but now you want to add some kind of second generation poverty thing here? You're some kind of social engineer who's going to solve the problems of extended poverty? This is off the chart.
And leveraging that influence with the Bridge.
Who are they? I have to look it up, but I'm eating my
That's a good point. We will talk to them about that and see if they have any programs of that type, and if they don't, whether they'd be willing to consider something. I think it's also, just as a broader point, super important to the point you just made, Director Edwards, that bringing people into a part of the city that is near employment, near education, near transit is very important for moving those generations out of affordable housing. But
they're so disconnected that they're so disconnected. The elite, I don't know what his background is. I should look it up. But they're so disconnected they don't see that the homeless population is doubling and tripling and quadrupling. He thinks that people are going to get out of poverty now, where the oligarchy has stole all the money and left the rest of us hanging here.
We'd agree we could potentially do more, so we'll look at that.
What are you going to do? You're a transit.
Yes.
This is Guy Ben speaking. I could probably add to that a little bit. I do believe that within the sort of amenity space planning within the building, Bridge is proposing to include some classrooms and workrooms for the residents within the building. And that's a sort of direct consequence of resources that were required and needs to be identified during the pandemic. And obviously that supports those goals and ambitions. And I think they're working with a community services provider to try and sort of deliver those services.
Who are they?
We'll confirm on that.
Bridge Housing.
Thank you, guys.
I'd like to jump in on that. This piece of the conversation, Director Edwards, thank you so much for bringing up the topic. I think the time is right, and Guy, this is certainly a topic that Bridge will not be new to. It's very customary to program some space for resident services in an affordable housing project these days, especially. What is an opportunity for us to lean into here is to ensure that those resident services are addressing things like financial literacy, as Director Edwards suggests, but also to make sure that the resident services are being delivered in a culturally competent way with the language access strategies and best practices that TriMet is known for. So this is where we can really make sure that it's not just holding them accountable, but making sure they realize the standard that we like to hold ourselves accountable to for access and cultural competency. And ensure that, to echo again, the real important point here that Director Edwards brought, that resident services are structured to help us empower and lift up households.
This guy Edwards here, his background sounds very blue collar. 44 years as a union electrician, first African American business manager of a construction local, first African American as a member of National Joint Apprenticeship, first African American appointed to the IBEW Local 48 board. Okay, well, the guy doesn't sound like he's an elitist, although he is, he was on the board. Once you get on to the union, once you enter the union executive positions, he served as international representative, so he's not exactly, he's a little bit higher. He doesn't come from some white-collar background, at least. But I'm surprised he asked this question. I don't know. He also served 8 years on the Oregon Electrical Board under Governor Roberts, so he's connected. I like him better than I like Sleepy Bethel.
This is the open-ended work of affordable housing. Getting that housing stability that we're leaning into is step one. Getting folks into a greater level of independence and their own household stability is what resident services can help foster. And this is a good moment to start seeing what Bridge brings to the table, where there might be gaps, and ensure that TriMet standards are being brought into this process.
Standards better be higher than the TriMet bus and rail standards, because TriMet take this junk and drive it around the city.
Other board members? Director Lewis?
Thank you, Director Simmons. I would like to just echo what my other colleagues have said, but I also, I think it's the last bullet point on the slide that we have up here on page 11. When you bring forward your next presentation to include your outreach into the community and what that looks like, I'm not sure if that will be done by Bridge, but to actually respond to the community which will live in this complex, what are their voices' concerns? Do they need, as opposed to retail, there's retail and then there's retail that supplements those that are in the housing, such as childcare. And so some of the services, will they be services that complement the community or services that complement the residents of the complex? But it would be curious to know a little bit more of who's being reached, how many community meetings are being held, what education points are given to the
You're way ahead of yourself. When is this thing supposed to get done? Not for a while, I'm sure. You're way ahead of yourself here. Why are you talking about this now? You talk about this before they open.
Potential renters, in this complex, which would
I don't like
include some of
this.
the things that Director Edwards says, the educational piece. That would be helpful in, I guess in my case, to know in your next presentation a little bit of more detail. Just make sure that it's aligned with the principles of our goals as, TriMet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last call for other board member comments. Seeing none, I return to you, General Manager Dessou.
Thanks, President Simmons. Also, I want to just thank the board, Director Edwards Gonzalez and Dr. Lewis. Thank you for your comments regarding strengthening and influencing our relationship with Bridge and really looking at those best practices and accountability for access and affordability. So we will come back at our next presentation with you, and we'll include the communications and the services that we're working with the community and Bridge. Also, I want to just, before we go here, I want to thank our team here. I am very proud of Shelley and Lance and Guy and Fiona and their team. They've done a great job really setting TOD policy. And I was in a dinner with the FTA Region 10 administrator a couple of weeks ago, and she made a comment that she is using our TOD policy to give to other organizations throughout the United States on what we've said here. So the bar is set pretty high for our team, and I just really want to let them know how much we appreciate them. So thank you all.
Thank you.
And finally, this morning, President Simmons and board, I'm extremely honored to have the opportunity to recognize two of our employees whose selflessness saved a human life. And I want to repeat that. Two of our employees whose selflessness saved a human life. Our bus and train operators, all of our frontline workers are heroes to all of us. They provide a vital service to our community, day in and day out, really helping people. But these two bus operators, what they did went above the expected. And saving a stranger's life, they also affected the lives of all of those who care about the person who was in the crisis this past July. So, board, I would like to introduce to you our manager of bus operations at our TriMet's Merlo facility, Joanne Kirkbride. Joanne, I know you're there, so I would like for you to tell the board the story, and then let's introduce our operators.
All right, good morning, board and General Manager Dessou. I will say that Operator Kenyon Hillier is with me today. However, Operator Scott Elkover was
Take
not
your
able
mask
to join
off.
us
You're
this
alone in
morning.
that stupid office.
So I can tell you what I know about the situation. Actually, it came from Operator Hillier as he came back into the garage and was very shaken and shared with me what had occurred. He said that as him and Operator Elkover were walking in front of, between the bus garage and the MAX station, they observed a woman who had taken her leash off of her dog, had strung it up in the small little shelter that is there, and had hung herself.
Oh, wait, this is a new one. I didn't hear about this one. This wasn't on the scanner.
He had stated that both himself and Operator Elkover held the person up until...
Well, you might not have been doing her. She probably wanted to die. And now you made her live. I'm not sure how much some people want to die for reasons that are obvious for some of us.
Police and medical had arrived. I remember him saying to me that, I mean, he was just very, very distressed because he felt like he couldn't hold her up long enough, and he felt like, he wasn't, really super helping. Because in fact, when the police arrived, she actually was not, she didn't have a pulse. However, they were able to bring her back, and to our knowledge, she did survive, and they did transport her to the hospital. But these operators didn't know that until I was able to share that with them. Once I learned about that piece, they assumed in their minds that the woman had passed away, and they were feeling guilty about it because they felt that as much as they were, holding her up, it was just dead weight and so heavy. And I remember Operator Hillier telling me that just her face and just the look and how white she was, was just so traumatic to
no
him.
fun to see a
So I have him with me here today. I'm so proud of both of these operators because they did save this woman's life, and they did go up and above. And I can't be prouder of her. So prouder of them. So I'm going to have Mr. Kenyon Hillier sit in this chair so that he can face all of you. So hold on one moment.
Let's see who it is.
Oh, sorry. Obviously, I pronounced his last name incorrectly. So.
Good morning. Good morning. It's actually Hilaire. The E is silent. It throws everybody off.
Congratulations to you. You saved a woman.
What would you like to know? What would you like to hear?
No, we want to just, we have been told a story.
Did you hear what he just said? He said, what do you want to know? What do you want to hear? Did you hear that? Good for you, dude.
We want to do Operator Hillier. As a general manager and a former bus operator myself, I want to thank you for your quick actions that you took, your quick thinking, and also never leaving the side of that person until they were rescued. That day, both of you saved a human life. And to have the wherewithal and the compassion to really rush to a person and ultimately save their life is truly remarkable. And we all would like to thank you for what you did. What you did is something that we will never be able to thank you enough for. So, as part of general manager, I want to just look at you and tell you how much we appreciate you and how much we value you.
I don't know if the woman agrees with that. I'm not trying to be cold-hearted. I'm just being, there's so much suffering in the world. I hear 2 to 3 hours of it every day because I actually spend part of my day every day listening to the TriMet bus calls, and that's just a never-ending horror show of suffering, dispossessed, left behind in the ditch. So it's awful out there. Now, none of these people understand any of that because they're not exposed to any of that. They're all living in an elite bubble. Everyone on here, except for this guy, this bus driver's in the trenches.
So I'll turn it over to you, President Simmons. If the board wants to say a few words to our operator, this is the opportunity.
Board, who would like to speak first?
I'll go ahead. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you for being brave. And hey, personally, I hope to be like you and use all of my energy, physical energy, to sustain, literally sustain a person. So thank you, sir.
Other board members.
I would like to thank you as well. This is board member Keith Edwards. The work you did is it's not work. It's actually caring and extending yourself beyond yourself. And so we applaud you for that. And
I understand what they're doing. They're trying to make the operators feel good about themselves, and they should do that because It's pretty bad out there.
Thank you for that. It's not easy to do in today's world. You could have found a million and one excuses why you didn't need to do what you did.
Of course you would have done it.
But you found the one reason why you needed to do it, and you did it. That took courage and strength. And so we thank you for that. And you are a true leader in our community and showing that we still must care for one another. And that caring is what saved a life. And thank you. I can't find the words except to say thank you.
You know, one of the things that I stand by my whole life, my whole adult life, is that I love people. I joined TriMet because I knew that there would be opportunities to help people, opportunities to see the community and be part of the community, bigger, broad than anywhere else I can work.
He's right.
It is.
On that, he's right. If you like people, this is the job for you. If you want to meet people who are in need of your help, this is a great job, but you have to like people. You have to genuinely like people. And so many people behind that wheel that don't like people. It shocks me. This guy sounds like he really does like people.
It is an honor to be with you all today, too. I appreciate that.
Well, don't be such an honor. But...
Director Gonzalez.
Oh, Ozzy.
Operator Hilaire, thank you, President Simmons. Operator Hilaire, I know that what you did that day wasn't part of the job, and it wasn't just fulfilling the TriMet mission, but you did it, in TriMet. In TriMet spaces on a TriMet uniform, and for that you really showcase not only the best of humanity, but the best version that we as an agency could hope to ever represent. Thank you as a person for doing what you did. It's a tremendous thing to have an angel in this world at the right moment, and you were that angel for this individual.
We don't know how she feels about this, folks. She obviously is not enjoying her life. Did he do her a favor? I'm just being honest now. You know how I am. I just tell you how I feel. Did he do her a favor or did he do her a disservice? We'll never know. She obviously didn't want to live. Nobody attempts suicide that enjoys her life. People that attempt suicide are in pain, serious pain. And you might have saved her life, but whatever drove her to that is still here. She's not going to get that, what drove her to this, changed.
As a board member, thank you for representing the agency in the way that you do, and for being a part of the agency for your very wonderful reasons of wanting to help people.
I wish that I was able to get feedback on how she is doing today, because I honestly, I knew that she had a pulse before they left. I didn't leave until they got her out of there, up on the gurney and into the ambulance. I wanted to make sure that she had a pulse and that she was breathing.
I'd like to know how she's doing too. I always wanted the backstory of the suicides of the world. You know, you want. They never tell you the backstories of why people did it or why they attempted to do it. This is another one of these examples of the mainstream media keeping you from knowing the truth, knowing the backstory of why someone would attempt to kill themselves or why somebody successfully killed themselves. What is their story that led to this? But we'll never find out because the controllers of the information don't want us to hear the truth about our own society, which is a horrible nightmare for most people.
EMTs took over and they had gotten her breathing without any restrictions. So the breathing was not labored. So not to put away anything, correct anybody, because the story was kind of correct, but I was actually driving my personal car, and I had 5 people drove right past her before I was able to see her, what she was doing. So I was able to pull over, flip around my vehicle, and pull over before she actually jumped. And I actually caught her as she was stepping off the ledge. That's how close it was, where 5 other people could have done exactly what I did. So, and Scott came up about,
That's an interesting
it felt like 3 minutes, but it could have been like 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes, or 1 minute to help me hold her up. So there was a time where I was the only person holding her up, because I actually caught her as she stepped off the ledge. And that's why she didn't have restrictions, because all her weight didn't hold on her throat. So it was, that's why it was so stressful for me. I had to take 2 days off and miss 2 days of work because it was so traumatic.
Director Lewis?
I hope that wasn't time loss for him. I hope they let him take that time off without penalty points. I wonder. You never know with TriMet. I mean, sometimes they just have no ethics at all.
I just want to say thank you again, and echo.
That must have been a rush. I can imagine being in that situation. I certainly would have helped, but I would have known that, well, uh-oh. Hold the phone. We have breaking news from the Rip City.
3134, I noticed there isn't any cleaners.
Wait a minute. Let me get it over here. Breaking news from Rip City.
3134, I noticed there isn't any cleaners at Oregon City Trans Center, and there's not any bus cleaners at the layover at Clackamas Town Center. Yeah, 3134, they have discontinued the cleaners. I think it's due to the lack of cleaners available at this point. So is there a specific mess we need cleaned up? No, I did not know what was going on. So apparently there are no more cleaners at any point in time anywhere in the system. That is correct. And
well, they fired them. They fired them all. Holy fucking shit. They fired them all, folks. Holy shit.
To be honest, that was news to me today as well. I had no idea. They may have posted it on the billboard somewhere, but that's interesting to know. Anyway, thank you. Have a good day.
Wow.
No problem. You as well. And we'll be clear at 1324.
Well, I think we can conclude our little board meeting with that bit of news. So, so what? The pandemic is over, TriMet, or what? Or you want all your money to go to your fucking development agency? I mean, they should have had cleaners they should have always had cleaners to clean up these mess that happen on buses. So TriMet being TriMet, Dessous being Dessous, they just decided to stop it. We just found that out. You just found that out. And so much for caring about your riders. I knew that was an act anyway. Most people did. It was a public relations gimmick. Okay, well, that's enough of that for today.